So this is actually the first Miro chapter in Italy. How do chapter works, you may wondering. So the idea that started from the Miro community is to gather together different people around the world that are using Miro, or they want to use Miro more in their life, in their work life, in their private life, in their free time, whenever it is. And basically start working together within their country or within the city. So it will be like a good time to start some networking, know what other people are doing within your country or within your city with Miro. And so yeah, basically the goal is to work together with Miro all around the world. And know more about what other people are doing and network, and yeah, discover more basically about Miro and new ways to use it. So as I said, this is actually the first Italian chapter. This is the agenda for today's meeting. So we started actually 10 minutes later, but it's okay since we were saying hello to each other. The goal of this meeting specifically will be just to know each other, brainstorm a little, because one thing that I will really like to see today is just chatting around how we are using Miro and what would you like to learn, and also shape the future events for this chapter. That will include more and more people as long as we go, hopefully. Here we have a thing that I think it's really useful. So let me move this a little bit here. So here is like how to do in Miro for somebody that is not that used to use it, or just some shortcuts that you may or may not know. That I think it's pretty useful. We also use this when we are doing workshops with people that do not use Miro in their everyday life, and I think it's really, as I said, useful to have it under your eyes, just to understand how we are moving through the whole chart. So let's move to a small introduction about myself. I'm Chiara. As I told you before, we work for the same company, actually. I'm a consultant. I'm really passionate about innovation and sustainability. I discovered and started to using Miro last year. I actually discovered it within nano degree course offered by Udacity that was about UX design. And so it was really an hands-on kind of course, and it was a massive, it required a massive usage of Miro. There were a lot of assignments that required the usage of Miro to put the ideas together, so brainstorming, and anything else that would require the development of an interface or an experience for users. Then after that, I continued use it during my work life, basically, or mainly, let's say, with my colleagues, to do like icebreakers and just moments where we talk about how are things doing and what are we're working on. And it has become very, very useful since the start of the smart working more than 1 year ago. I don't know about you guys, but if we talk about Italy in general, smart working wasn't really the standard working method for companies. BIP actually really started using it some years ago, but since we work closely with clients, we are kind of used to go to the client site and work together with clients. So it's a lot of front or like face-to-face kind of working methods. So Miro really helped us to facilitate and make it easier to everyone to work together. And also ice breaking and just brainstorming and just sharing some virtual time together that felt almost like not virtual time. And yeah, so basically this is my story with Miro, and this is also why I've decided to start this chapter, because I really want um, to gather people together from all over Italy that are using Miro or would like to start using Miro, and just share ideas and yeah, know more about what other people are doing and so on and so forth. So this is a nice icebreaker, I think, especially when you are working with people that are not in the same place. I used to work with clients that are not based in Italy. Especially now, I'm actually working with a client. It's a multinational, so there are a lot of people working around the globe, especially or mainly in Europe, but also abroad. And this is a nice way to like collaborate on the board. So people are asked to use this little thing here, the icon finder, choose an icon that will be like this or something like that. And you can use it to put it where you are, to locate yourself. I'm in Milan now, so I will do like this, and it basically when there are a lot of people participating, and especially when they come from a lot of different places, this comes really handy and really nice to just to tell everybody where we are, how far are we, and where we live now or where we are working from. So I think this is really nice. Of course, it works better the more people there are, and the more are widespread in the world. Here's another one. It's an emotion wheel, actually. So it's a good starting point, I think, during meetings. It basically asks you, how do you feel, and every participant has to pick one color and put it here in the wheel. Of course, it's I mean, most of the people will not say that they feel like mad or negative emotions, but it's still a nice way to tell the others how are you feeling, especially maybe when we have some meetings after lunch when you are feeling like super sleepy and you really don't want to work hard, and then you can just put it here, and it's a nice thing, I think. I can see you are actually moving on the board, so this is nice. Did you ever use such icebreakers during your meetings or something similar?
I think I have once in a team huddle, but I like this one. This one's cool.
How about you guys?
We use some icebreaker, not on the same level. Let me say, we usually do some exercise that are that help people to set the mind to work together.
Mm-hmm.
So something more collaborative and something more related to their job and work activities. Something like that. It's more something I would use in an internal meeting with colleagues in a sort of I don't know, a free time meeting. Let me say.
Yeah. Sounds good. Do you ever guys do such things without your clients? I mean, among your working group? Just to, I don't know, practice some new features in Miro or something like that?
Well, I also work with an internal group, which is the one that organizes the Vespertini courses. I don't know if you have ever heard about them.
No, actually no.
In our area, there are some courses and trainings which are fueled by our colleagues, and there is this team, which is Team Vespertini, which organizes them, and I often use Miro in order to discuss with them on future evolutions of the team, on ideas for new topics to be discussed, and so on and so on.
Okay, sounds good. So maybe you can also leverage some kind of similar things. One other that is more simple is this one. How are you feeling about working from home? And if you are doing this full-time or part-time, since the last, I think, last month. I actually had the chance to go to the office last year, but it was just a couple of times before the all settings of different colored regions started. But then again, the office was closed, and I think just in the latest weeks it has been opened again. So this is also like useful to understand how are people feeling, if they are working from home full time or if they are not, and if they are enjoying this full-time working from home thing or not. If they prefer like 50-50, you know, you can see a lot of like this kind of questionnaires on the internet, especially on LinkedIn. And this is also a nice icebreaker to understand how are people feeling about this smart working feeling. Okay, then here I've put just a quote from Henry Ford that I think it's really strongly related with what we are doing. So coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success, which is not always easy, especially when you are working not closely to your colleagues, but it's still possible thanks to Miro and other platforms. And here we have some kind of other icebreakers. One that I really like is this one. It's a virtual lunch. It really works out when you work with a team that used to be co-located, which I think we all used to work for. So I know it's not like, it doesn't have the spontaneity of like choosing where we can go to have lunch at 1 p.m. when we start our break for lunch, but this is still, I think, nice. See on this template, they can, I mean, every person could add a sticky note with their name, put like different kind of seats, of chairs that you like prefer, and put this with closely to the table, and then grab different sticky notes to rate, I don't know, how hungry you are, which is your favorite plate, and choose also like some snacks from the table that you would like actually to eat with your colleagues. And I think you can do this even when you are like actually having lunch. But you know, sometimes we have to have meetings during lunch, and this could be like a good starting point just to I don't know, make things a little bit funnier and easier. Then this also one it's pretty cute. What this was like, when was the last time you did something? So during this year, most of our common routines have been like changed completely. And so to find out what you have most in common with your team in this new normal, you can use like sticky notes. There are, I think, the most used tool in Miro. You can come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 actions to put down in this note, sticky notes. And you, of course, can feel free to add emojis, images, or GIFs, cover all the actions with the sticky notes, and then uncover the first action and ask everyone to add a sticky note below it with their answer. And of course, you can then start discussing the response and move on to the next session. I think that for me, this is really tricky. The last time I worked in a normal dress that wasn't a pajamas, I actually really don't remember when was the last time. I think the last time I went to the office, actually, so last year. And I would like to know what you think about this, and if you like want to grab a sticky note and write something down. So another thing that I think it's kind of funny, especially when you start working with remote teams, with people you've never actually seen before in person. And this has happened quite often for me, at least, because during the last year I've jumped through little projects with new people. I think this is also a nice icebreaker. So every participant will say two different things about him or her. One thing is true and the other not. And the other participants will have to guess which one is true and which is not. And this is really funny, and it's a nice way to know somebody that you don't have a chance to chat in front of the vending machine while waiting for the coffee. So this is also a nice icebreaker, I think. And yeah, you can put this on the on sticky notes, and maybe like adding some voting buttons to see where people think they are right. I mean, how many people think that one phrase is true about this person and which is not. And yeah, I think this is also a nice one. Okay, if we move actually through the almost end of this discussion is this post that I created that has some inspo on Miro. I think that there are a lot of resources in Miro, and sometimes it's not easy to find the thing you need the most, but there are some kind of different links that you can use to find some really useful resource. One is Miroverse, that basically gather together a lot of different templates that are clusterized in different categories based on the scope and the object of the board. And so this is really useful when you just want something that is fresh and new, but you don't know where to start. Another thing that I think it's new, Natalie, because I didn't have a chance to see it before, is the Miro Academy, which has some videos that help you getting started with Miro, and covers a lot of different new features, like this one here that to me it's in beta testing. I can see it. Okay, it's reactions. So I tried this before, but it wasn't really working. But I now know that that exists. So you can add some reactions to the post to the other from the other people on the board. And last but not least, the Miro resources, that's like a blog where the community that is actually using Miro all around the globe can gather some suggestions and feedbacks on what is working and what can be improved, and just a lot of different tips to work better with Miro. And I think these three are really the most useful, and you can really find a lot of resources that could come handy in a lot of different situations, both when working with clients and when working with your coworkers, peers, whatever. So I really encourage you to use these links and to discover more about it.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, can you please show me how to add the voting emoticon?
Yeah, sure. So what do you mean with voting emoticon? It was like this
in the
one?
post-it, in the last exercise with the post-it.
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically here you can just, I don't know, use a different shape, like a different, I don't know, this circle, and you can just change the color. Like to me is yellow, so whenever I think something is good, I can use this yellow circle to show what I think is right. Or another thing that you can use that I think is really useful, even this like an emoji. So everyone choose his or her emoji and add it to the post-it and use it to like show whenever he's voting. I think they're both nice. And they are actually the most used, I think.
There's also the possibility to start a voting session, though. Is that? I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's here on voting. So here at the bottom, sorry, there's this voting section here. And you can choose to vote for different things. Here you see your board, like your small board here, and you can choose how much votes can each person have, like 1 per person, and the duration of the voting time frame. I think the last tip that I can give it to you, since I think you could find it interesting if you didn't join the Miro Online community, you can definitely join it now and reach out to Natalie, that is the community coordinator, if you're interested about becoming a user leader or event speaker yourself. And the plan is to have a lot of events. I don't know if you probably saw this on LinkedIn too, since the Miro promotes a lot of different kind of events all around the globe. So whenever you feel like you want to participate in this, they are all open and free. And if you want to help me shape this chapter together, of course we can do it. I know this board isn't like maybe the fullest one, but I really wanted to choose a starting point and then gather some people together to decide how to shape this chapter together. Other Miro users in Italy.
Okay, nice. That's
very nice.
I have a very basic question for you, which is, how can we actually pronunciate Miro? Because
that's a question for Natalie.
Yeah, because I used to call it Miro, but then I had this course with 2 instructors in design thinking from the Milan Polytechnic School. I don't know if it is right. I mean, two university teachers, and they warned us as students. Come on, guys! It's Miro. It's clearly named after the artist, so don't miss its pronunciation. But when I look at tutorial and I hear you talking, Chiara, I listen to a different pronunciation. So maybe Natalie, you can.
Yeah, because I think the other thing was Miro, like hero, right? The other like definition of Miro. It comes also from Miro the artist, but also hero, so Miro. But Natalie, now it's up to you.
Yeah, it's my usage. Yeah, I've heard like people emphasize the O, so they'll say like Miro. I've heard Miro, but it's just Miro. I mean, that's how I say it. But I saw a LinkedIn post where the LinkedIn profile for Miro, they commented on someone asking about that, and they were like, Miro rhymes with hero. So yeah, I think that's the most. Honestly, it's all okay. Whatever sounds good to you. But Miro, I think, is what most people call it.
Yeah, I think I will lose the accent on the O, just because sometimes when I pronunciate it like that way, the other people in the meeting begin looking at me and thinking I'm a bit weird. So I think I'll keep calling it Miro without emphasizing too much on the final letter, I think.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Do you have any other things you would like to ask, or?
Well, for example, while we said that we usually do not use icebreaking activities like the ones you showed us. I think that they're actually very, very nice, and we will grab it as an input to include these in future events. And I actually tried to do something like this on a kind of personal project. And what I love is having the activity be actually something that is linked from a content standpoint to what we are going to talk about. For example, I had this small project on artificial intelligence, and the first thing we asked in order to do some ice breaking was a small activity, a fun activity linked to the world of artificial intelligence. So maybe this is kind of some kind of middle ground between the two approaches. But the issue is that more often than not, there is not enough time to do some, well, we may say easier activities together, but they are, of course, a very nice input for us.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And one more thing that I would like to say is that this first event has been held in English because I thought it was more like useful to also gather some people from, I don't know, abroad if they want to, since there are a lot of chapters starting. But of course, also the next events could be in Italian and in English as well, or mainly in Italian. We can definitely see that. So just an additional information.
This comment made after my intervention made me question
No.
myself about my English
It was
skills.
something like I wanted to mention before, but yeah.
Just joking, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Natalie. I don't know if you would like to say something before.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming to our event today. Like I mentioned, it will be should be recorded. Has been recorded. It should be uploaded to your YouTube page. If you're interested in talking about opening up a chapter or just being involved in this chapter or in general with the Miro user group community, feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat just so you have. So in case you want to learn more, have any other questions on how to get involved with Miro, you can reach out. And yeah, I hope you all have a nice rest of your afternoons. And yeah, that's it for me.